So the next thing we're going to talk about is really fucking grim. Um, so I'm going to give a warning for anyone who doesn't want to hear about attempted murder of a trans person just for existing, basically. And you are totally welcome to check out. I will edit this into a separate section afterwards. We'll probably be on this for 15 minutes. See you in 15 minutes if you don't want to talk about this. That is totally fine. But we're going to talk about an incident that recently happened in the UK. So a 18-year-old trans woman, had sex with someone, and then they found out that she was trans, or they claim they didn't know at the time, and decided to try and stab her to death, screaming transphobic slurs at her. Also, when they did have sex, this guy and this trans woman, without her consent, he filmed it and posted it on the internet, which is a crime. That's 2 crimes. Filming people having sex without their consent, and also revenge porn, basically. Both horrific violations of someone's sexual boundaries, and should have him on the sex offenders register. But then tried to kill her for being trans. And then, of course, because we live in fucking 2025 and the British media is the worst institution on earth, maybe not, but they're pretty fucking bad. They're trying to blame the trans girl, and so the gender critical movement. They're trying to blame her for what happened and make her into the villain. So here we have an incredibly horrific Daily Mail article. The title is kind of garbage. Teen knifed at roller disco after row about her gender. And that's not, that's a horrific simplification, but it is a Daily Mail headline, so it's going to be terrible anyway. But then it says, mob targeted girl 18 over her trans identity. Lie? Fuck off. It's not over her lie. It's not lying to be a trans person and to exist, and then later on you find out that they're trans. Maybe she assumed that he already knew. Maybe he did already know, and when he was confronted on the fact that he had had sex with a trans person and shamed by his transphobic friends, he was embarrassed and decided to lie about it. We don't know. That happens all the fucking time, by the way. That is not a rare, maybe of this crazy scenario that I've imagined up. That happens all the time, where cis people have sexual relations with a trans person and then pretend they didn't know, or they didn't do it, or they want to keep it secret. Like, if you're a trans person on the internet, you have got messages from some creepy, sleazy guy being like, you can be my little secret. All the time. That's the most likely scenario here. But also, if she just had sex with him, did he ask if she was trans? Did he say, before we have sex, I am someone who is irrationally prejudiced against trans people, and thus, if you are trans, I do not want to have sex? Of course he didn't. He saw someone who he was attracted to, and he had sex with them, and then afterwards, he learned that it wasn't socially acceptable in his bigoted group of friends, and then they decided it was so socially unacceptable that the only response was murder. Like, that is how utterly horrific the reverse framing on this, even just this subtitle is. She was stabbed 9 times for lying about her gender identity before. It's not a lie to not say something. If someone asked you to your face, like, are you Irish? Are you, like, born in March or whatever? If you have some irrational prejudice, I don't sleep with people who are Capricorns. Like, okay, well, that's fine. But someone is not lying. If you have sex with someone without asking them if they're a Capricorn, and then it turns out they are, and you try and stab them to death, that isn't them lying. That isn't a lie. And this is the framing that the gender critical movement are constantly trying to push, that just by existing, you are deceiving people. Like, just by walking down the street, if someone sees you and is attracted to you, you've lied to them. That's how they're trying to frame this. as just so utterly horrific. Like, the most vile people on earth trying to claim that someone who filmed someone having sex against without their consent and then tried to murder them is somehow the victim. It's just so grim. This picture of this girl here, for some reason, I don't know why all the newspapers chose this photo. She's one of the attackers. She isn't the trans woman victim. But yeah, so she's kicked the trans woman. I don't know. We don't need to go into all of the details of how horrific the thing are. But they were even laughing about they filmed the attack. They filmed the stabbing with laughing emojis, telling friends, "I'm going to jail, bro. I stabbed her." Screaming slurs at her at the same time when it was happening. So the trans woman says, "The incident has resulted in thick scars. I have experienced animosity towards me being transgender, but I never thought anyone would have so much hatred for me. Other than Rebecca Camber, who writes these articles. Whether she wrote this bit, I don't know. I know they often say journalists don't write their headlines. But man, if I wrote an article about someone trying to murder a trans person because they had sex with them, and then my editor wrote this headline, I'd quit instantly because that is so disgusting. Vile people. No one with morals works for the Daily Mail. They just can't, can they? Yeah, grim. I did try looking up to see if she had social media, but she doesn't, or she hasn't used it in a long time. Very depressing situation, and I'm glad that I managed to vent out some of my rage about it. But now you've now learned about this, and maybe you need to vent your rage out about it. Yeah, I don't know. Send the Daily Mail an email, tell them to fuck off or something. Not a threat. But they should fuck off.